Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you are watching this. Welcome to the Extra Point, Episode 5. I am Hunter. That is Nick. How you doing, Nick?
As always, Hunter, I am doing very well. How are you?
Great. I'm doing fantastic, as always. I'm pretty sure I say fantastic every time
That is
you ask me.
correct.
And
Yep.
I'm going to keep saying it. So, anyway, I'm doing fantastic. Welcome to the Extra Point, Episode 5 on YouTube. Today, we've got three topics: NFL and hockey. Playoffs, hockey. My team, Carolina Hurricanes. Your team, Bruins,
Boston Brew. Yeah.
going at it. Oh, that's going to be fun. Anyway, let's jump into the topics of today. We have who is going to be the worst team in the NFL this coming season, 2019? Who has improved? Which NFL team has improved the most this free agency and draft? And then our last topic of the day, Carolina Hurricanes, Boston Bruins. We have game one recap and more to come in the playoff series, what our thoughts are going to be. Without further ado, the best team or the team that has improved the most in the NFL. Who do you got, Nick?
I have the Raiders. I know I said this before in episode 1. I liked everything they did. That was before the draft. The draft is come and gone. And to me, they've just had the biggest positive changes that you can have. I really looked into the Jets also. I like what they did, but I had to go with my number two. They didn't do quite as much. I did want to talk about them though. They got Le'Veon Bell,
Yep.
Jamison Crowder offensively, along with Kalechi, is it this Asimile?
Assimilate
I think. Yeah, that guy.
that guy.
Uh, so that makes their offense that much better. Plus, I think Sam Darnold is a good quarterback, and with the right mentoring, I think McCown's still there, so he's gonna have a good season, I think. And then defensively, they got C.J. Mosley to help their defense, so they got some really good additions. They didn't really lose anybody, so I really like what the Jets did, but had to go with the Raiders due to the numbers standpoint. They got so many different players.
Yep.
We talked about it before. Antonio Brown, whether you like his attitude or not, he is a monster. That was a huge pickup, along with Tyrell Williams and J.J. Nelson. That is a wide receiver core if I've ever seen one. J.J. Nelson, very underrated receiver from Arizona. So wasn't Tyrell Williams a deep ball threat for Derek Carr? Antonio Brown kind of does it all, so we know that. I think they could have one of the most deadly offenses in the league. Still got to work on their offensive line, but that's okay. Um, I also like what they did defensively, getting Lamarcus Joyner, Vontez Perfect, and then the draft, which I don't think we talked about since the last time we talked about the Raiders.
No.
Clelin Ferrell was, for some reason, a big shocker, or the professionals didn't like that. He is a great pass rusher. I think he's going to
Yes.
help them out tremendously. They had the worst defense in the league last year. Anything defensively could help them out. Speaking of, they also got Jonathan Abram, who is a very physical safety. Him plus Carl Joseph right there, that's going to be a good combination at safety. So there's their front line and their back line, plus Burfict at the linebacker position. They really took care of all phases. And then even just top it off offensively, they still got Josh Jacobs, who may or may not get beaten out by Doug Martin. We'll see, but that'll be a good competition at the running back spot. So they just made all the right moves. I really like what they've done.
I do as well. When we came up with this topic, three teams came out at me. You got Arizona, the Raiders, and then the Browns. I'm going to go ahead and knock the Browns out of it just because they already had a pretty decent team last year. They won 7 games, and I don't see them winning, even with the star talent they have. I don't see them winning more than 10. So they didn't really improve the most, even though they got a couple star players. But I am going to go ahead and say the Raiders. I think the Raiders will do better than the Cardinals this year. They did a little more in free agency and in the draft than the Cardinals did. and they also have one of the easiest schedules in the league, supposedly. I think their opponent win percentage is .49 or something like that from last year. Josh Jacobs, I love that pick. They just lost Marshawn Lynch, who retired. And I think Josh Jacobs will come in and be their number one true power back, as Marshawn Lynch was. And I think he'll do better than Marshawn Lynch. They don't really need a speedy running back because they don't really have a good offensive line to operate with that
Right.
style of running back. They do have Jalen Richard, who is one of those speedy guys, and he will be the receiving back. But Josh Jacobs really fits that scheme very well. They do have a really good offense. The only thing that they need to improve on is the offensive line.
Yeah.
Defensively, you said it all. They're still struggling with that front seven. But yeah, the Raiders, I think, did very good, and they are my most improved team. The Cardinals also did a very good job. We were arguing back and forth on the Kyler Murray situation,
Yeah.
and I still think their offense is going to be pretty good if he can show it, and I think he will. It's just their offensive line is still horrible. Justin
I
Pugh, best
I
offensive
mean,
line.
I looked at the Cardinals, but yeah, their offense is still going to be. I think they're still going to be struggling. We won't get into it again, but
Right.
the little Kyler Murray thing, I'm just really iffy on him. That's the only reason I don't. I thought it was a pick. So because of that, I don't think. I think they could have got a better quarterback. Maybe Dwayne Haskins. I think that would have made me feel a lot better about the Cardinals. But well, once again, that was old news. So I didn't put them up there. I really did like the Jets, though. They really haven't lost anybody major, and they've only added people. And like I said, I like the players they added. Sam Darnold is going to be a tough challenge for any team. I think this year he's a good quarterback. He's got a cannon. He's got the size. He's built for it. Um, he gets the right leadership. I think they'll be in a good place. Adam Gase is not the worst coach of all time. You could argue he is better than Todd Bowles, so we'll see what he does with him. And that kind of coincides with the Cardinals, the quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks, the success rate of teams. You look at the best teams in the league from what you think is first all the way down. They have great quarterbacks. Some are better than others. You know, I, I say that, and I just think of the Green Bay Packers, who also did have a good draft, getting a lot of good defensive players to back up Rodgers. But um, to me, the best teams have the best quarterbacks, and or he's Sam Darnold. I think is a good quarterback, could be a good quarterback, and I thought their future is really bright over there in New York. So
They do
I
have a
really
good
like
team.
them.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um, Also, I think the Cardinals did a very good job on defensively as well. They didn't have a really good defense last year. They go and pick up, let's see, Corey Peters, Terrell Suggs won't be there that long.
no, he's
Jordan
1 year.
Hicks. They also have Hassan Reddick. I mean, they did a very good job on defensively as well as offensively.
They did get
Um,
some veterans. I would have liked to see them maybe trade up after that first pick and get another first round defensive lineman. There were a plethora of D linemen in this top tier D lineman in the draft. I would like to see them trade up and get a top tier lineman, but you're right. They did make some good moves.
so we both agreeing on the Raiders as the most improved team coming
Yeah,
into the 2019 season.
definitely. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So the Oakland Raiders, most improved team in coming into the season. And how about the who we think the worst team in the NFL will be? And I'm pretty sure everybody that watches the NFL will agree. Who is it?
Everybody that also watches the show knows what you're going to say, and I agree with you as well. You said it
Mm,
multiple times.
your
The
boy.
Miami Dolphins.
It's your
Yeah.
boy.
Well, and I agree with you. I'm not arguing the big. I do agree that the Dolphins will have the worst, at least the worst record. However, it's not a major deal. They really set themselves up for the future, not this year, not next year, the near future.
Right.
Let's look at who they lost. Okay, Ryan Tannehill,
Yep.
Offensive tackle Jawan James, average at best. Danny Amendola, system wide receiver. Guard Josh Sitton, he was actually a solid right guard in the run game. He will be missed for them. And Frank Gore, who's obviously a great running back and still has shown he can be successful. And then I want to say the best for last, Cameron Wake, that is a loss. He is old, but he still gets to the quarterback
Yes,
somehow.
he
He
does.
is a very big loss. That being said, they did replace several of those players. You replaced Tannehill Rosen. You replace and Fitzpatrick. You throw in on offensively, you throw in Dwayne Allen, veteran tight end, a leader, great blocker. He was Super Bowl champion with the Patriots and longtime tight end for the Colts. Eric Rowe, quarterback from New England, is cornerback from New England. He's okay, but he knows Brian Flores' system, obviously. That could be solid. And then, of course, they re signed Devontae Parker on a big deal. I believe it was this morning or yesterday, Xavier Howard actually received the richest cornerback contract in
He did.
history of the NFL, and he is deserving of something of that sort. He led, not led, he was one of the top in interceptions once again this year. I believe he was one of the top in the previous year. He is a great lockdown cornerback for one-on-one matchups. So that was a good sign for them. What I'm seeing when I look at all this is they lost a bunch, but they kind of replaced it. That being said, they replaced it with some younger, less impressive talent. Like I said, Eric Rowe is not the best cornerback. Devontae Parker isn't the best receiver. Josh Rosen, we'll see. I think he could be great in the future. We'll see. And Fitzpatrick obviously is, he's a solid backup quarterback.
Right.
They did get Christian Wilkins, which is a great first round pick. He's a great defensive lineman. Not necessarily going to replace Cam because he is, first of all, not the same position. He's not as fast. I doubt he gets many sacks. He's going to take up two
Right.
blockers and stop the run, which is good. Um, it's just they lost some and they put it back. They didn't really do anything to go over the top. I thought almost any other team had at least one really good, solid pickup. These guys really just replaced the averageness that they had before,
Right.
and I don't think that's going to bode well. They don't have the easiest schedule either. I think the Pats are looking good. I already said the Jets are looking good. They could get swept in the conference if they're not careful. I do think they will have the worst record in the league. That being said, I don't think it's a bad thing. So I think the future is bright. This year, I think it is a tank.
Nothing on this team screams good to me. Not one thing. Besides the
Not
second.
even Howard.
The secondary
Okay,
is the only thing that is good on this whole entire roster. Well,
respectfully.
depth chart, sorry. Kenyon Drake, good, reliable running back. Secondary, good, reliable. But as a whole, this team is not anywhere near what they want it to be. So they don't have any front seven on the defensive line. And that's just going to basically kill your secondary. You're not going to have anybody that's going to get to the quarterback. He's going to have all day to throw. Yeah, you go on and pick up Christian Wilkins, but that's one guy. It's not going to do much for you, especially on the pass rush side, him being a defensive tackle.
Yeah,
Not going
he's
to
there for
be
the run. He's not going to make
exactly.
an effect in the pass defense.
You have Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh Rosen. We're not sure who is going to start. A lot of analysts are saying that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to start, Josh Rosen is going to sit. I don't know. Either way, they don't really have a lot of receivers to throw to as well. You got Kenny Stills, who's not reliable, Devontae Parker, who is not reliable, and he's injury prone. And you do not have any, you don't have an offensive line. So the whole entire offense as a whole, not good at all. And this team in general is a hard division, a hard conference in the AFC,
Yeah.
and they are gonna get hit hard with a bunch of losses coming their way.
Right, but once again, it is. I think they're expecting it though as well. This is like, all right, guys, let's do what we can. Let's improve on these
Oh,
like the new
definitely.
guys. Let's improve. They have 11. They traded throughout. They had several trades. They have 11 draft picks next year. That's working with a lot. I mean, they're really setting themselves up for success. Brian Flores is another reason they're probably going to fail. Look at all the new head coaches we had last year. Pretty much all of them were terrible. Their teams didn't make playoffs. Nothing successful happened. But in time, if they do things correctly, like next year and the following years, you could turn them into maybe a 10-win team. Who knows?
Definitely.
But they definitely tanked for this season because their depth chart, like you said, is terrible. Not one
This is a
player
rebuilding
look
season.
at
Yeah.
and go, "Oh, he's great." You're like, no, average at best.
This is a rebuilding season. But the thing that gets me, how long have they been rebuilding? Like, when was the last year they were actually decent? I mean,
I forget who said it, but like their rebuilds were real. They haven't really done this. They haven't really done a big rebuild like this. They'll just go, they'll go 8-8 one season. One season they might go 9-7. Then they'll go 7-9. Then they'll win 6 wins. Then they'll pick it back up to 500. They've been just chilling in that one
they never
spot.
hit that peak.
Right. So now they're going to tank, and hopefully over the next couple seasons, they're going to build up. They can be a 10-win or 11-win team. If they do it right, we'll see what kind of coach Brian Flores is, see if he's built for the head coaching position. Time will tell. It's just going to be it's going to be a couple years before we see any improvement.
Yeah, yeah, big rebuilding stage coming up for the Dolphins and a bunch of teams. Oh, the Dolphins, they're hurting right now.
You
So we're a
watch,
little.
they're going to shock us, and they're going to win like 8 or 9 games. They'll make the playoffs as a wild card. What do you think? That'd be pretty cool, huh? what do you?
You and Josh Rosen, I swear, you can just
Oh my
nothing
God,
against
Hunter!
the guy, but dang,
I think you have
you are
something
just
against
loving him.
that.
Oh,
I think you have something against him.
I don't.
You give
I
him
don't
one.
have. I don't
You give
have
him
anything
one.
against Josh Rosen.
Even Cam Newton wasn't that good his rookie year. He's pretty solid, but he wasn't that
He broke
great.
every rookie
Okay,
record there was as a
wasn't
quarterback.
that great.
Record,
Right.
no. I think the Panthers won. I think 7 in his rookie year, but he broke every single rookie record as a quarterback.
Okay, and he also had the number one defense at the time as well. And the following years, we already know the 3 or 4 straight years the Panthers defense is top three
Wrong.
in the league.
His third year, they had the second best defense in the league. The
They were
first
like
two,
top
not a
20.
good defense. Because I
Oh
think we
my!
lost. No, we lost. I think 8 games by less than 7 points because of our defense. No, I'm going to disagree with you there.
We'll look at this another time. But I'm pretty sure that Cam was working with at least I'll say top 5 or 6 defense his rookie year. He had to have been.
Possibly in
We'll
yards,
get into
maybe, but in
that
points,
different.
no.
We'll get into that a different time.
All right, that will be another topic for later on. Speaking of, I'm just going to go ahead and interrupt intermission. Send us some topics in the comments, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you want to do. Send us some topics so we can talk about them on the show. I know we say this every single episode, but it needs to happen. It'd be
Yeah,
fun, good interaction between us and the viewers.
yeah.
So if you haven't done so, subscribe, follow our Twitter and Instagram, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, all that sorts of fun stuff. Anyway, moving
Moving
on from
on.
the NFL, we talk about the NFL a lot because, we like the NFL. It's a fun
Yep.
sport. It's a lot to talk about, and it's constantly, something's always going on. So, but we're going to move on to hockey playoffs.
Yes. God, I've been waiting for this.
Me, myself, not a huge hockey fan, but I will cheer for the home team, Hurricanes, home team.
Yeah.
But I do watch it. Watched every single playoff game, and I know Nick here is a
I
Bruins
love
fan,
I
just like
love the Bruins. Always
Boston,
have.
Boston crap. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Crap. How dare you?
I said
Boston is the city of champions, Hunter. Have some respect. How dare you say that? You messed up how we're starting this one. Okay. Bruins and Hurricanes. Bruins beat the Hurricanes 5-2. Hunter, Do you want to say what happened in the third period? I think you should say it. I think you should say what happened in
I
the
thought
third
this was
period
a phenomenal game. It was a good, well-fought game.
for two
First and
periods.
second period, I was excited. Hurricanes came to play, Bruins came to play, and then there's two things that happened in the third period.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
one thing that's happened this whole playoff series and the whole season, and then another thing that just came up this playoff series. So I'm going to start with the first one. The Hurricanes' power plays, I'm pretty sure, is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. One of the worst percentages in
Defensively,
the playoffs,
okay.
offensively. One of the worst percentages in the playoffs and in the season at power plays and converting on power plays offensively.
And the Bruins are number one.
So the Hurricanes, I think they've had 27, 28 power plays this playoff series. They've gotten a
Oh
goal
my.
on one.
Ah,
One.
that was the one yesterday, huh?
One. Oh, two. So two. Counting
Two.
yesterday,
Yeah.
two.
Okay.
So
That's
that's
that.
what we could not capitalize on, or the Hurricanes could not capitalize on in this game, nor in the playoffs in general. And then the second thing that I have a problem with happened in the third period. The Hurricanes are the youngest team in the NHL. I said NFL. NHL. And in the third period, that showed. Some disciplinary issues came out and
Yep.
resulted in 3 Bruin power plays, 2 of which were
We
goals.
scored on back to back.
So that was the problem in this game. Third period was horrible for the Hurricanes. I think, let's see, the Carolina led on hits, Carolina led on shots, Carolina led on face-off ones, and penalty minutes with
Yeah.
10.
Well,
So, and I'm pretty sure 10, so 6 of them came in the third period. So, horrible showing in the third period, and that's how the Bruins, I feel, pulled away with the game.
so watching the game as a Bruins fan, very disappointed. You got the Hurricanes crushed the Bruins in the second. It was only a one goal. It was only a 1-0 period from Canes to Bruins. Fortunately for Boston, because they played terrible. Their goalie Tuukka Rask has been the best goalie in the playoffs. He's been getting 40 save games, shutouts, and he had a lot of impressive saves to keep that just a one goal game in the second. He was huge in that period. Um, the third period, however, it really, you can almost feel it if you were watching. When you come out and you let the Bruins score in the first, what was it, 40 seconds of the period,
Yes.
that's a big blow, right? When you let them score 28 seconds after that, that's an even bigger blow.
To
And
take the
you go,
lead.
yeah. So basically, a couple minutes in the game, or not even a full 2 minutes, you're up 2-1 away in the Bruins. It's a silent stadium, and all of a sudden, you're losing 3-2. As soon as we scored the second goal, Hunter, we won the game. We had all the momentum, and you're 100% correct. The Canes' inexperience, it did them in. They are, and now the one thing that I do have for them being young is they are active. They were flying up and down the ice. The Bruins are a slow team. Okay. The Hurricanes are the opposite. They are a fast team. Every single one of them can skate like crazy. They're fast and they're quick, which is a scary combination. And especially in hockey, some guys you're quick and finesse. Others literally can just take a foot race down the ice and burn you on a breakaway. They did it, and even in the third period, they actually did it. But like you said, the penalties are what killed them.
Yep.
After being down 3-2 for most of the game, you get to about 3 minutes left. Hey, it's time to pull the goalie. Canes pulled their goalie. By the way, had a solid game. I thought
Oh,
had
yeah,
some tough
definitely.
misses there. For power play goals, I mean, what are you going to do? It's a man advantage for the Bruins. It's tough to hold on to those.
Right.
Um, but they pull the goalie, and a simple steal and long shot from the Bruins is all it took. 4-2, that was the game. One thing I don't hate the Bruins, or hate the Canes, by the way. I
All right.
have respect for them. This is their first year coach, taking his team all the way from being a wild card, one game away from not making the playoffs. You beat the Capitals in a 7-game series, double overtime thriller in Washington to get the win. Phenomenal. Then you sweep the Islanders the next game, which is it's more impressive than beating the Caps in the first round. You go a 7-game double overtime series, then you sweep the next team. That's ridiculous. They, they have a lot of respect from me. But one thing I didn't like from them is they really gave up. What you want to see from your team, especially when they're young, is no matter what the situation is, keep fighting to the end. They
Right.
played sloppy. They weren't as fast the last few minutes. And because of that, the Bruins actually, on an ugly turnover by the Canes, got a breakaway goal and made it 5-2. They really showed that they need to play harder and for longer, not get so down and out. And that is, like you said, has to do with their age. Bruins have a couple young guys, but for the most part, they're very well seasoned team, to
Right.
say the least. And I think that's what got us to win. So we'll see what the Canes can do. It is a 7-game series as usual, and they are young and they do have a lot of energy. So we'll see how long they can go. But I agree with you. I think their age really messed them up in this game.
Exactly. I agree with you as well with the getting down and out. So you saw when they played the Capitals. The
Right.
Capital, they came back in game 7 down 2-0, ended up
Yeah.
winning the
At the
game.
third. Yep.
But the reason they came back and won, or sorry, the penalties in that game did not set them apart. This game, it was just, and they knew it. The penalties is what's killed them. And they just got demoralized after that, in my opinion. If they can
Yeah.
just limit the penalties, yes, they're a young team and they have to learn. I get that. If they can just limit the penalties, then they got it. It's a young team. The Bruins are a really good team, and it'll be a very tough challenge for the Canes. But this is going to be, in my opinion, and I hope it will be, a very, very good series. Could go down to a game 7.
I certainly hope not. For when you're a fan of either team, especially I love the Bruins. When you're a major fan, I hope it's a 4-0 sweep. Probably won't happen because the Bruins are a roller coaster in this playoffs. They're up and down, especially at home. They've lost 4 home games with home ice every series. Really frustrating. They could lose the next game. They've won 1-1 the first 2 games to start the other 2 series. They could easily lose the next game and turn this thing right around. And you're right, it could be a 7-game series. I hope we get the sweep, but more than likely, especially with the Canes being really active, at some point they're gonna they're gonna run us out of at least one game. Their speed and their energy to go 3 full periods, or if we have to, another double overtime, so 5 full periods of hockey is really impressive. Um, but yeah, it could be good. I think, don't take us the wrong way. I think the Bruins are a better overall
Oh,
team.
come on. What are you? I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But I was about to say, I think they're a better overall team, and we should honestly get close to a sweep. I think we are a lot better. But then again, I mean, the Caps probably could have beat them. That didn't happen. The Islanders probably could have at least won one game. That didn't happen. So anything can happen. But
Right.
do have a lot of respect for the Canes, and I just hope we get the sweep on them. That's all.
I don't think y'all will get a sweep. I did think that y'all, or I do think that y'all will win the series, sadly, just because of the inexperience. If this team stays together, youngest team in the NHL, this team can stay together, build on each other, then this could be a championship team next season, the season after
Yeah,
that, whenever, very soon. I mean, nobody, I didn't expect this to happen
right,
at the beginning of the season or even midway through the season. This is a shocker. I mean, you don't ever see, we're talking about NFL, same thing. You don't ever see these young teams come out and make it to a championship game or the
right.
semifinals of a tournament. It doesn't
Really
happen.
exciting. It's really exciting. It really it just even if you guys lose the series, you got to be satisfied. They got to be satisfied with making it this far, how they got this far with their impressive wins and the sweep, and their future is the brightest of all the league. I mean, it's your first season with a new head coach. You got a couple rookies that are leading your team in points, which is crazy. Their future is really bright. It's going to be actually scary in the long run for anyone in the East, but they're a tough team. I can't wait for the rest of the series. I think they play again Sunday at 3 o'clock. That'll be exciting. Then they get a home game. They'll be rocking over here in Carolina. So
I would hope.
even if you know if they still won from Boston, that's always huge for any away team. They only have 3 home games. Win your home games, take one from Boston. That's it. They are in the Stanley Cup Finals. Sounds easy to say. Obviously, that's a lot easier said than done. But if there's a team can do it the way they've been in the playoffs, it can be them. So they make me nervous for sure.
Watching the Hurricanes play, though, I can see them start to. I don't know if it's because they're a young team, but mold just in the playoffs alone. So you saw in the first couple games, I think we were down. The Hurricanes were down 2-0 against the Capitals. The first 2 games.
Yeah.
They were just getting, like you said, fast team, small, fast, quick, not really physical, getting bullied by the Capitals. Yeah. I mean, killed.
They got crushed total. I mean, they lost by multiple goals in the first 2 games, but they won their home games.
And I'm talking about just the physical aspect. I'm just talking about the physical aspect. I mean, getting bullied. And now you come and see against the Islanders and now the Bruins. I mean, obviously this is just one game, but overall, to be a small, quick team, they're a lot more physical than I saw the first 3 games of the playoffs in general. So I feel they are taking big strides early.
And the thing about hockey is it's not about being the biggest guy. It's about being the toughest guy. Mm-hmm. If you're forechecking on the walls, you're going to get hit. Whether it's a penalty, whether it's a late or whatever, you're going to get hit. You're going to have to give hits, whether you knock somebody on their ass or whether you just get a good shoulder into the wall and get loose of the puck. As long as they stay tough, they have a chance. You're right. They're not the biggest team. They're more of a quicker, fast, finesse team. But if they stay tough, that's really what matters in the end, is how tough and if they can withstand the shots they're taking. So,
to me, what will win the Bruins is their intelligence and their knowledge and expertise because they've been playing longer. That will win the Bruins this series. What will win the Hurricanes, I feel, is resiliency and heart because, honestly, they've got a lot of heart. They just need to show it. They're a young team, and they need to be resilient. So, but to be honest with you, like you said, I agree. The Bruins, just because they are a more well-rounded team and older team, not older, but you know what I mean.
More experienced.
Seasoned, yeah.
Yeah, seasoned, right.
I feel they will take it, but it will, in my opinion, I hope. I really do not want to get swept. I hope this will be a really good series for both teams.
Well, naturally, that's what you'll feel, and then I feel that I really want to sweep. So we'll see who wins and who gets what they want there. Hopefully, the sweep happens, but we'll see.
Why are you the way that you are?
I hate so much about the things you choose to be.
All the Office fans out there. Yeah, so that was a little quick episode. I mean, not really quick. We usually end about 40 minutes. We're hitting about 34 right now, done talking about the topics. Anything to say?
No, I thought we had another good one. I did like that we expanded to the NHL. We're probably going to have to hit up the quarter rounds of the MLB coming up. We're going to see where teams are at from where they were at the beginning next week. I'm excited for that. I can't wait to talk it up with you. Hunter, we're going to have to get back to the NBA, man. We got a couple Game 7s coming up. Definitely. Huge games. We're going to see who's going to be in the Western and Eastern Conference Finals. So we're going to get back to the MLB and the NBA as well next week, guys. So get ready for that.
Yep, definitely. Like he said, MLB, NBA, any topic. We're not just doing topics of what's going on right now in sports. We're also getting opinionated based topics as well. A couple weeks
Yeah.
ago, we said who is the best team or who is the better team, who will make it to the Super Bowl first, Browns, Raiders. Same thing with this week. We said who's the worst team in the NFL. Opinion based questions as well. If y'all have one, go ahead and
Yep.
send us a
What do you want
tweet,
to hear us talk about? Yep.
whatever. Yep. And a lot of people are talking about this is a I can't really have time to watch. I don't have time to watch a 40-minute video. You don't have to watch the video. Imagine this is a radio. It's a podcast. While you're doing homework, while you're sitting there at work, working,
That's right.
if you're doing whatever, feel free to listen in if you like sports, if this is your thing. You don't have to watch it. Just listen. Podcast.
Yep.
Just listen to us talk and make a fool of ourselves usually because
That's right.
that's what we do.
Because I sound weird and Hunter looks weird, so
Exactly. So you
if
definitely
you
don't
don't
want to
watch,
look
you don't
at
have to look at Hunter. So that should be a motivation to at least listen.
and you don't have to listen to a Boston fan because nobody likes those.
Right. That is true.
18 championships in like 3 years. Anyway, it's bull.
Pretty close.
That was a good episode. I'm glad we expanded to the NHL as well. Also have to hit up the NFL. I mean, obviously, some good stuff going on. What did you just say?
Time.
I thought you said something about Tom.
Air Tom. That's what I said Air Tom, like Air Jordan, because he's the GOAT. So Tom, you do Air Tom, because he's the
that's
GOAT.
what you said.
Tom
Anyway,
Brady is
we don't
GOAT.
really.
And
that
Cam
could be a
has the
topic.
best defense of all time, and that's the only reason he has success. But anyway, good episode, Hunter.
Very good episode. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, subscribe, comment, Twitter, Instagram. Links will be in the description, all that, yada, yada, yada. Thank you for watching. I'm Hunter. That's Nick. And we'll catch you later.
Deuces.